Welcome back, everyone. We will now be speaking about loan repayment, federal loan repayment with Michelle Clifton. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, Sally.
Hi. All right, so let's dive right in. This is such an important topic. And, honestly, thank God there's people like you around. I mean, sometimes people ask me questions and I'm like, I don't know, listen to the podcast or read our blog post because they're monitoring this stuff. But if I try and tell you something, it's probably already out of date. So, all right. So, you did give us an update on the SAVE income-driven repayment plan 2 months ago. So, what is the latest with SAVE? Is it still blocked?
Yeah. Yeah, things in the student loan world are constantly changing, right? So the SAVE plan is still blocked by the courts. And just for like a quick refresher, this is the newest income-driven repayment plan that offered lower payments for that were a lot more manageable for many borrowers. So we're still waiting on a resolution. So borrowers that were on the SAVE plan were put into an administrative forbearance starting with their August payment of 24. And the Department of Education has confirmed that they'll continue to extend this forbearance until there's new legal developments, like whether they can proceed with SAVE or it has to change or if it's blocked permanently. They will stay on that interest-free forbearance. So
Okay.
many
Uh,
servicers are actually they're showing that the forbearance ends in February. I've been seeing a lot, but it will be extended if there's no updates by then. And
okay.
something that's important to note, though, is that while this is an interest-free forbearance, the months are not counting towards forgiveness for public service loan forgiveness or IDR forgiveness.
hmm So, in general, no news is good news, but don't get optimistic about
Yeah.
these months counting. So, okay.
Yeah.
Anything new with the other IDR plans?
Yes, this is where we do have new information. So borrowers were already able to switch from SAVE to IBR, which is the income-based repayment plan. This one was created by Congress and it would take an act of Congress to change or get rid of it. So it's kind of like the safest option. But back when SAVE was created, they phased out pay as you earn, which is called PAYE, or income contingent repayment, which is ICR, for new enrollments starting in July of 24. Now, because of all the SAVE drama, they actually went ahead and the Department of Ed opened back up in mid-December the pay plan and ICR plan. So borrowers can apply for one of those plans until they're saying July of 2027.
Okay, so there's a window. I mean, don't wait,
Yes.
but there is a window,
Yeah.
so that's good. Okay. All right. And in what
Yep.
circumstances would a borrower want to switch to pay or ICR?
Yeah, there's a couple of really important reasons. So I'll back up a little bit and just talk about IBR quickly to explain why these other plans might make more sense. So IBR, income-based repayment, has two different versions. They call it old IBR and new IBR for the most part. So new IBR is great. It's 10% of discretionary income, but only for those who were new borrowers after July of 2014. And it has a 20-year max repayment term. So that one's fine. But old IBR is a lot more expensive. So it's for those who borrowed before July of 2014, it's 10% of just, sorry, not 10, 15% of discretionary income and a 25-year max repayment term. And that difference in 5% actually does make a significant difference, especially for those who were planning to pay under SAVE, which was a much cheaper plan. So
Hmm.
pay is a great option for borrowers before July of 2014 because it calculates the same as new IBR. So it's 10% of discretionary income, a max repayment term of 20 years. The problem is, though, that not everyone can use pay. So it's only for those who had their first federal loan after October of 2007. And they also had to have had either a disbursement or a consolidation dispersed on or after October of 2011. So it does, a lot of borrowers can take advantage of it, but not everybody. And then ICR, this plan is typically used by Parent Plus loan borrowers because it's the only income-driven plan they can use. And it calculates pretty high at 20% of discretionary income. So a lot of other borrowers typically don't use it. But the reason that it's beneficial that they've reopened it for everybody is because IBR and pay have this strange requirement called partial financial hardship, which means that to get on the plan, the payments have to calculate less than the 10-year standard, which is typically if you're applying for an income-driven plan, it's because you want to bring the payments down lower than what your standard would be. But if someone has been in repayment for a long time and maybe they're working towards loan forgiveness, whether that's PSLF or IDR forgiveness, and they need to switch plans because they can't use save anymore or don't want it going to wait around for save, and they say they make too much money to get on to pay or IBR, they can use ICR. Now the payments are going to be more expensive, but they could continue to make progress towards forgiveness under that plan.
Okay. And should all borrowers who are in the save forbearance switch to another plan?
Yeah, so I mean, if a borrower just doesn't want to wait anymore and they want to continue making progress towards forgiveness, they can go ahead and switch to one of the other three plans. Or maybe someone has decided that they don't want to bank on loan forgiveness and they just want to pay their loan off in full. They could switch to the standard plan, the standard 10-year plan, the graduated plan, or one of the extended plans if they've borrowed at least 30,000.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, borrowers who um, might want to hold out to see if save sticks around. It is important to know that there is a new process for public service loan forgiveness called a buyback option. So once they get to the 10 years or 120 months of qualifying time working for an employer, qualifying employer, so like a not-for-profit organization or government organization, once they get to that 10 years, they can actually buy back this time. So say they have 6 months of time already from August to now, in the future, once they get to the 10 years of work, they can buy back these months of what they would have paid. So it's for those who are planning for that, I definitely recommend setting aside money so that they have that to pay because they only have 90 days to do so. But they can it gives them a little bit more peace of mind to hold out right now and take advantage of the save forbearance. And
Mm-hmm.
then the last situation I wanted to mention was that borrowers who have other debts like, higher interest rate private loans, personal loans, or credit cards, they may want to use this time where their federal loans are not accruing interest and they're not requiring payment, where they can pay down that higher interest rate debt, maybe pay it in full, hopefully. And that way, after that's done, then they can focus on their federal loans.
Yeah. I'm a big believer in paying down high interest debt as quickly as
Yes,
possible if you're able.
absolutely.
If you're able. Yeah. So how do borrowers change their plans and how do they sort of figure out which plan they're under? I mean, I imagine
Yeah,
this is pretty confusing for people.
it really is. You would not be surprised. I often ask people what plan they're on, and most people don't know,
Yeah.
which I totally understand why. So they can first, if they want to calculate the different plans, they can use the loan simulator, which is on studentaid.gov. That can give them estimated amounts under the different plans. And then if they decide they want to change it, if they're going to like standard, graduated, extended graduated, or extended, they can do that right through their servicer website. So whether they have Advantage, Ed Financial, Mohila, or Nelnet, they would go right into their regular servicing website and submit that request. There's usually like a change plan option where they could do that there. But if they wanted to go on to an income-driven plan or they want to switch their income-driven plan, they would do that on the student aid site. So that's studentaid.gov/IDR. They'll submit that request. They will get an estimate of what the plan will be, and then the information will flow from the Department of Ed over to their servicer. Their servicer will then complete that request for them. Because there's been so much back and forth with all the income-driven plan drama, there is processing delays. So they'll be put into a processing forbearance for the most part first. And the nice thing is that up to 2 months of that time can count or does count towards loan forgiveness. So that's nice. But then after that, they'll be put onto the plan that they've requested.
Okay. All right. And where can borrowers go for updates?
Yep. So ed.gov/save is a good one, as well as studentaid.gov/save action. They've been updating both of those sites with some great information and FAQs and things like that. So those are excellent. And of course, we've been tracking this consistently, so I'm sure I'll be back at some point to give an update.
Seems like studentaid.gov is a good place to go in general.
It's a
and
great
for
website. There's,
almost
yeah,
anything related to
yeah.
financial aid. And then obviously you get a bill from your loan provider haunt that website as well. It kind of seems
Yes,
like.
yeah. So student.gov is a great site, but also it's super important to know who your servicer is because they're the ones that are actually going to be billing you and making payments and all that.
Hmm.
So they're both really
Any
important.
sense of, I mean, and I realize you may not be able to predict this, but has the change in administration, might that be impacting things, or is that
Yeah.
just so unpredictable how things will be impacted?
Yeah, I mean it is it's so I just don't know. And I've decided I'm not going to speculate. So we're
Hmm.
just gonna keep track of things as they happen and we'll definitely be updating folks. But I really don't know. I mean, last
Yeah.
time a lot didn't change with student loans, aside from, during the pandemic with the loan pause, of course. But um
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a
Fair
lot of things
enough.
like
I,
there's definitely, there's worry about public service loan forgiveness going away, but that would take an act of Congress to do so. So it would be
Mhm.
very substantial to get rid of that program.
Okay. All right. So that's good to know. I ask because I know that that's on people's minds.
Yeah,
So, yes, we don't know, but if it's something that was an act of Congress, you can bank on it to a certain degree. That
right.
sounds like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so much, Michelle. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right. And thanks again to Dr. Mark Butt for his time today. And do be sure to join us next week when we will be introducing three new team members here at College Coach. Notably, Karen Shearer, formerly of Lewis and Clark College in Portland, Oregon, Kimberly Ortiz, formerly of Harvey Mudd and Caltech, both STEM focused colleges in the Los Angeles area. And then on the finance team, Jess Mosley, college finance expert formerly of the University of Chicago and Reed College in Portland, Oregon. And finally, I want to remind you that you don't have to listen to our shows live. Every show is accessible 24/7 on the Voice America website. You can download every show for free on Amazon Music or iTunes. And if you're curious about other topics, remember to look through our archives, and you can find those along with our blog posts on our website, which is blog.getintocollege.com. And don't forget, we're here every Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.